If you're running an online community and your revenue looks like a heartbeat, where sometimes it goes up and sometimes it just like crashes down, then this is actually stage 2 within the scaling roadmap that Alex Hormozi talks about. And I took the scaling roadmap and completely synthesized it, broke it down, and now applying this to Skool by gamifying it and thinking about what are the kind of bosses that we have to defeat, because we are ultimately just playing a game. Business is a game, and by defeating these bosses, we actually get to grow our revenue. So this boss is the werewolf, and this is kind of like the one that is preventing us to hit 3K. And we need to defeat this boss over and over again to hit the 3K consistently. And I recently got the clover on Skool, so I'm currently at 6K in monthly recurring revenue, and I did this by like consistently doing marketing and advertising, and that is ultimately the way that we can defeat the boss. And I'm currently here at Mind Valley University. There's like a lunch break going on. A lot of people are dancing. I'm not sure if you actually see this, but like that is the value that we're getting from like growing our online community. It was like we get to travel, we get to like work with clients, we get to enjoy life and the journey while playing a video game that actually pays us money. So I'll be doing like a whole series, because in the past I was working with Aiden, or he was mentoring me, and he actually hit 300K in monthly recurring revenue, and soon he will be there. So I want to break down the stages that need to happen to get to 10K, 30K, 100K, 300K, and maybe by the time we're at 300K, someone is already hitting the 1 million. So this is like what Skool is about, and why I love it so much, because it feels like a game. So in this video, I want to really break down like what we need to do for marketing, sales, and operations in order to defeat the werewolf and like finally get to this 3K and have that clover on Skool. And I'll even go into like how we can keep that. So if you want to have a customized roadmap or quest in order to defeat the werewolf, then there is a assessment down below. And once you fill this out, then I'll be able to send you the specific action items that you need to do across marketing, sales, and operations. So let's get into that and look how this actually looks like. Because in terms of marketing, the problem that I have made myself, and I see a lot of people, is like doing too many things. So we want to pick like one thing that is actually working, whether it's warm outreach, cold outreach, content, or ads. These are the 4 ways that we can actually get other people to know about us. And when we're getting started, I always like to start with warm outreach, because these people already know us. There is already trust, and everything else is more difficult. But the general aspect is like we need to do this consistently. So that's why I like the rule of 100, where we are consistently reaching out to like 100 contacts, creating content for 100 minutes, spending like $100 on advertisement. So this is what Alex Hormozi recommends. I think if we are taking this into like the Skool perspective, what I found, and like this is how I got like my first 3K client, is just warm outreach. I didn't need to create content for that. I didn't have to reach out to people who didn't know me, and I didn't have to run ads for that. So this actually works by just doing one thing consistently and continuously building trust and rapport. So the key aspect is like we should not stop doing that even though we get busy. So even during my phase where I was like busy with the delivery and I like was already past 10K, I still continued to keep up with the conversation. I still continued to create content, because I know that this is going to feed the next season. And if we stop marketing when things are going well, then we are creating a hole in the future, because the work that we're doing now are the seeds that we're planting that we get to harvest later. So if we stop planting seeds in the future, we don't have anything to harvest. And that's how we are able to actually get consistent leads coming in through the marketing pipeline. Then in terms of sales, it's really about following a specific script. And Hormozi is famous for having the closer framework, where we first clarify, then label, then give an overview, we sell the vacation, we explain away the concerns, and then reinforce the decision. And here I like to think about the most important aspect, which is actually the pitch. And the pitch is arguably the most important aspect of a sales conversation, because we need to be super clear, because when someone is confused, they're not buying. So the way that I like to structure the pitch is always three pillars that we're talking through, three simple steps. The first one is a quick win. The second one is the breakthrough. And the third one is the mastery. So this way, we already talk about the next problem that our clients are facing when they start working with us. And we get to future pace them and put them in the state when it's like, you know my problem better than I do, because you already know the problem that I'm going to face that I didn't even know. And this is very powerful by having like these three pillars. And also separating the aspects on like, okay, well, we need to set appointments, which is something that a setter would be doing. And here Hormozy recommends to run the CLO framework. So clarify, label, overview. Because when we are still in the qualification process, in the discovery process, then we don't want to slip into coaching. And this is something that I have been doing a lot, because like I generally want to help people. But I discovered that when I start coaching on a sales call, then people are like, oh, I need to like apply this. But because there is no further guidance, they are trying to do all of these things at the same time. And then they get confused and they don't know the next steps, and they don't have our guidance to help them. It's like, no, you should actually focus on this. And here's how I can help you with that. So instead of like just giving away pills as the doctor without properly understanding the problem, we want to first diagnose and clarify what's happening, labeling that, and giving an overview on how we can help. And the way that I like to run this is using the AAA framework. So Hormozy here talks about acknowledge, associate, and ask. Something that you can, like personally, I like to add value in step 2, because this also builds trust, and we can still associate them with some of our best customers. So this is how to run sales, and doing that will allow you to actually get paying clients, which is all what's the werewolf is about, and like just doing this consistently. And in terms of operations, we want to be like valuable in an unscalable way first, because if we're thinking about automating things that are not actually working, then we're just wasting time. So we first want to create something that people are actually enjoying, something that they're consuming, something that is getting results. And for that, Layla was mentioning the hear framework. So we want to hear them out, we want to emphasize with them, we want to apologize if something is wrong, and then resolve the problem. And if we do this long enough, we actually understand what we need to do in terms of customer success to then get the happy customers that we get to then interview and ask, like, hey, where did you start? What were the numbers back then? What made you double down on like working with us? Then why you said, no, what made you doubt us? That's the step through. Why did you say yes anyways? The numbers that you have now, and what they can do now that they couldn't before. So this is the perfect testimonial framework that we can run our clients through in order to get more clients later on. But that only works when we actually get them the results. So that's why we want to properly understand, like, okay, well, we need a solid system at this point where we capture leads, like a basic CRM to understand the pipeline, and automating like replies, appointment reminders, so people are actually showing up and we can have like some consistency. And this is also the point where we can start thinking about getting some freelancers to help us and start transitioning them towards like a full-time opportunity. Because as we are defeating the werewolf over and over again, we now have resources to not do things in the future. And that will then eventually get us to the next boss that we are facing in order to like break through 10K. So this is part of the roadmap. This is part of these customized quests that I've been creating to defeat these bosses. And this is how I was able to defeat the werewolf over and over again. And if you want to have actionable items that break down the quests and like this is what you need to do, then you can can fill out the assessment below and we'll connect you to that quest, and you know actually what needs to happen in order for you to hit the next level and defeat the werewolf. So this is it for me from Mind Valley University here. Remember to enjoy the journey and have fun along the way. Peace.